Whoa, we are live. I am waiting on my guest, Miss Carlie. Soon as she gets down into the what I call the basement, and then should be ready to go. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting on her, I might as well go ahead and get this out of the way. In the Blind is brought to you by Salt Creek Custom Ammunition, True Lock Choke Tubes, Biscuit Built 3D, and Heyday Outdoors. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you the South Carolina famous Miss Carlie. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we're just were you in a closet?
I am in my closet. I'm trying not to wake the kids up.
I hear you. Well, welcome in. We got a few people that's come in here, but I'm just going to kind of wait for some more.
Yes,
So
sir.
we just hang out and chat a little bit. But I did just want to let you know, I do have some other questions that came up through kind of like Facebook and whatnot. So we're going to be going over that as well.
Okay.
But usually takes a few minutes for people to jump in. So, and I got a few. Like I said, I only got a few in here. It's my only bad habit. So
It happens. I'm rereading over the questions that you sent me the other day.
okay. So how's the big city going on?
Oh, the big city is wonderful.
I hear you.
Wonderful. I think he's almost done planting corn, so I think we're slowing down over here.
I got you. Anti, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for showing up. Anti is one of my moderators. So, Anti, if you can find out from Miss, if I pronounce this right, Carlie Fornaye, it's on Facebook. If you can find any on her Facebook pages, if you'll post them for me, dude, you know I greatly appreciate it. There he goes. He's got it. Charles Holden, what's going on? How you doing, buddy? Here we got a few people in here, so why don't we just go ahead and get started? Do me a favor, introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you.
My name is Carlie. I am from Utahville, South Carolina, which is a big old city near Santee, South Carolina. If you've ever heard of Lake Marion, aka the catfish and the duck capital of South Carolina, I'm from right there. I started duck hunting when I was 16. I got in a really bad car accident. We'll get into that, and started duck hunting. And then I met my now husband in college, and we just got into it heavier together. And now we travel the country trying to hit a new state every year. And I really enjoy it. I'm a hunting education instructor and a shooting safety instructor for shotguns. I specialize in women and children, and I've been doing that for almost 10 years now.
So. That's awesome. So, who got you into duck hunting? Not just hunting, but just what got you into duck hunting? What?
It was my high school friend group. I hung out with mostly boys, and they were mostly the baseball team at my high school, and I needed some way to get out of my house, so I ended up hanging out with them a lot, and we partied together and this and that. And then duck season rolled around that year, and they were like, "Carlie, do you want to come with us?" And I was like, "Well, I have nothing better to do at 4:00 in the morning, so I might as well." And my entire first year, I did not carry a gun because, like I said, I got into a really bad car accident that December, and I duck hunted almost every day that season after that before school. Didn't carry a gun because I had a concussion, and I was like, I'm not going to mess with it. So just went and watched and fell in love with it. And every season since then, I've been back out and collecting new species and just getting better.
I hear you. So it was your friends that got you into this, not a family member. Like for myself, it was my dad.
Right. Right. So I'm the only duck hunter in my family. I'm the first one that I know of. So.
Oh wow. Now
nobody else in my family duck hunts.
Did you? I did. That was your dad that I met
yes.
Last week, a couple weekends ago. Does he hunt? Did he take you?
He killed a deer when he was probably in his teenage years, and he'd never hunted again after that. He's a fisherman, so I didn't grow up in a hunting household. I knew that his uncle hunted, and that's about as extentful as it got.
Okay. When you said that for the first year you didn't carry a gun, but when you started carrying a gun, what was where was your first duck hunt at, and when did you shoot your first duck, and what was it?
So my first couple of seasons that I hunted mostly the swamps over in Dorchester County, private land mostly. My first duck was actually on the WMA property in Utahville, back in a hole back up in there, and it was a woody, and I actually have him mounted in my living room. He was a wedding present from our best man, who's a taxidermist. So that was exciting. That was a good one.
So you're over there by Ferguson's. I'm not Ferguson's, but yeah, Ferguson's Landing.
Yeah, right there by Bell's. Yep.
Yep, by Bell's. Is
Right
that
there.
Speaking of which, there used to be a pretty good steakhouse there. Is it still there?
Chef's Choice, right there on the little fork in the road. No,
Yeah.
it's not there. I do remember that. I vividly remember going in there, and they had baked potatoes and a salad bar and very good steaks. I do remember that.
Yeah, we used to. Not every time, but there was on occasions where we were coming back and we just said, you know what, it was a bad hunt. We'll pull in there and let's get a steak. Have something good to eat, decent to eat. So yeah.
My bad hunts usually end up at the Waffle House, not at a steakhouse.
Or in Santee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually ended up there the other morning after a turkey hunt because I needed to end the day on a good note, and Waffle House was the only way to do it.
Have you seen many turkeys this year, by the way?
We saw a bunch of them on Saturday morning. They saw us before we saw them, and it was game over.
Right.
Game over.
Now you've been around the country as well, like I have. I know that you've been going different states and whatnot. Out of all the places that you've hunted, what is your favorite type of terrain? Is it swamp? Is it flooded timber? Is it marsh, open water? What is it that if you had to pick one and that's all you could do, what type of terrain would you prefer to hunt?
I have to stick to my roots and stay in the swamps. I mean, it's just drilled into me to be able to walk and stand in the water. I didn't hunt in a blind on open water, like sitting in a physical blind, until I was in my 20s. And that was bougie. Like, you could have fooled me, and I wouldn't have believed you if you said people actually sit in blinds like that. I thought everybody stood in the swamp and duck hunted like that. So when I got to experience sitting down and being dry, oh, that was a game changer. So, I mean, if I could have a blind like that in the swamp, I would do it. Do it. But I prefer the swamps.
Have you been up to Sparkleberry? Have you been in the Sparkleberry swamp?
I try to avoid the popular areas because of
just
certain demographics of people. So we try to go to where it's just us.
Right. There used to be quite a few blinds up in Sparkleberry when I was growing up, and they would actually put in 55-gallon drums, and they would get them up in the tree and strap them into the tree with and you'd have a wooden ladder, rungs that were nailed into the tree, and you had to crawl up and and sit in it. You're probably about 15, 20 feet up in the air. My thing was me climbing into one early season, and it'd be a little no rope hanging in there, or what have you, or it just rusted out and you just fall straight through. But yeah, there were some of those kind of blinds up there, and there was a few people that did actually built blinds that you could actually put a boat under. Of course, they became public immediately. Of course, they didn't think that, but you know how that rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Mike Green's in here. Randy Nettles, what's going on? Randy's a good friend of mine. Mike Green is here. Charles, of course. Charles Holden says, one of my friends growing up. Let me see if I can put this. Can you read that?
Yes. My husband was actually on the shooting team at Clemson, and I worked at the shotgun range while I was there the whole time. I was their coach's intern my sophomore, junior, and senior year of college. So that's really close to home. We missed the alumni shoot this year. We have, children and responsibilities now, but we usually go up there every year.
Mark Taylor's in the house. Really, really good friend of mine. It's where I go and train my dog Bougie at his place over in Cassett. Quite a few people in the house. We we talked a little bit about some different things, and I'm still going to go through these questions, but I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit. But you worked for an organization one time, if I remember correctly, and so we won't name names right now, but there were some practices done about the released mallards, and I just want to get your take on what you think about the released mallard program. Now it's up and down the East Coast. It's actually going out west now, and but it's predominantly here in South Carolina. So just want to hear what you got to say about it.
You know, I'm still a fresh hunter. I'm still new to this and that. I don't remember what the flyways were like back in the day, so I don't have anything to compare it to. But even through the years, I have noticed the differences. I've noticed the differences in the way the birds behave, and not even just from a hunting standpoint, but I grew up on Lake Marion. Like, I lived on a cove, so I had birds in my backyard and in my cove year round every single year. And I've watched the differences in how many we have over there that stay there year round and how they behave. And we've lost the population in the cove of just mallards staying there. And it makes sense because they're gathering up with all these other birds that are being baby, if you would like to say. And they're starting to move over towards that side of the lake, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Because everything is a little bit safer over there because all the land is being put towards all the other things that we do and don't like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Without naming
names.
Yeah. Without giving away who we're talking about. But it's just, I like it to an extent of trying to help conserve the species and this and that, but I feel like we're doing it the wrong way. Right. I feel like there is a more natural approach to the way we can do things. And I'm not an expert, so I don't have exact science or reasonings on how we could do this, but I feel like we're interfering a little too much.
But you have your opinion.
Yes.
Okay. And, one of the first things when we started talking about is how much I disdain release mallards and how much I dislike corn ponds.
Right.
And we talked about it on the phone. We talked about it in chat. We talked about it very briefly while somebody was trying to eat ice cream and they had to get away. And I understood that and whatnot. But you really don't have to be an expert but everybody can have their opinion. And that's what this whole thing is about, is opinions. And I think our opinions are pretty much the same. But if they're not, don't worry, we'll still be friends tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. So, we talked, what are your thoughts on, well, let me put it to you like this. I have no problem with what people do on private land. It is their private land. They're allowed to do, as long as it's legal, they can do what they want to do. But I also agree that there is a way to do it. And strictly corn is not, in my opinion, the way to do it. I just want to hear your thoughts real quick.
This is where it gets tricky because I believe that planting food for ducks ahead of duck season is go for it. Absolutely. But going out there and just dumping corn just to try and steer them your way because you piss poor planning, in my opinion, is what dumping corn is caused by. Because just like a dove field, you can prepare for a dove field all year long. You should be preparing for your ducks too. You shouldn't just be thinking, oh, last minute, I'm going to dump some corn out there. I think that's lazy hunting, in my opinion. If you put in the effort for the land, you put in the effort for feeding them, cool, great, fantastic. You deserve them to come off track a little bit and come to your pond to want to eat your food. But I think I don't want to call it cheating because then that's in that gray area of, okay, then planting food is cheating. But I think it's the piss poorest, laziest way of trying to promote ducks to come to your land.
Right. Let me say hello to a few people real quick. We got my good buddy Cody from After Five Outdoors is here. Mark J. Larson, our resident expert trapper, is in here. Let's see here. And I shouldn't say resident. He's from out in Illinois. Hunting stuff with J&J is in the house. What's going on, brother? And guys, if I happen to miss you saying hello, please forgive me. But you know, I got Miss Carlie here, and we're trying to all right, wait a minute. Charles said this. Let's see here. I had a buddy who passed away last April. He was the NC representative of the Atlantic Flyway and chairman of the Atlantic Flyway. He would tell me volumes of how bad the mallard release was. Yeah. I have a very good friend that lives in Pawleys Island, Dr. Rick Kaminsky. And he has sent me volumes of information on the mallard release programs. I've done quite a few videos on them, using his, you know, of course, he handed me the information, said, here, read it, and you come up, you know, with what you want. But yeah, it's pretty bad. Everything about it, though, the duck itself, the mallard itself is smaller. The wingspans are smaller. The bills are more pointed for pecking instead of filtering. The lamelle, which is the teeth in the duckbill, the filters in the duckbill are less on release mallards because they don't filter, they peck. So yeah, there's a lot of issues there.
And I mean, when it's to the point where we start seeing reverse adaptation, or the fact that basically you can just look at it as they're adapting to being spoiled, and that's just ruining the whole game, because it's just like, I look at it this way. I haven't seen a good situation where the government has released or controlled or done something with an animal population in South Carolina in the recent years. I haven't seen any good coming out of anybody trying to mess with it themselves. So I think they need to step back and reevaluate what they're doing and stop doing it.
Let's get more jovial here, so to speak. The craziest thing that ever happened to a duck blind with you. You were in a duck blind. One of the craziest things that ever happened.
I think, so this is also my do as I say, not as I do type of moment when I shoot, when I do my shooting sports safety stuff is, please shoot properly. Do not just randomly shoot from the hip at ducks flying in just because you can. So we were in Texas, it was a couple years back. It was during one of those crazy floods, and I was tired of standing in ice water. Like, I know I don't mind standing in the swamp water here, but we don't have ice water in South Carolina. Well, we're standing in ice, and I was freezing. I was annoyed. I was hungry. The birds just weren't continuously flying. It was one every once in a while. So I walked over to the pallet that the dog was sitting on, and I sat my happy butt down. Well, what happens as soon as you sit down? The birds start flying. So I'm trying to shoot, and my gun is just frozen. So it is not cycling these shells, and we're two guides. And the younger guy is sitting at the back behind me. And so he hands me his gun, and we're just passing guns back and forth. As fast as I can shoot him, he's trying to get it unjammed and reloaded. Both of them are freezing up. We're just struggling. So all of a sudden, this pair comes over, and it's these two god-awful mergansers. And we love them, but we hate them at the same time.
Right.
And they fly over, and I'm just looking at them, and we've been passing these guns back and forth, and I just don't have the energy anymore. So I'm sitting there, and I pull the trigger, and I'm not paying attention. And all of a sudden I hear him go, "How did you do that?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "You just dropped her right there." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, it was the most least excited, but also inside of my head, I was like, that was pretty freaking cool. And that was one of the craziest things that's happened, is I wasn't even really paying attention. Wasn't even really trying, just pulling the trigger, just pull the trigger. And she came down. She came down.
Oh, now you said earlier that you try to stay away from the more crowded areas. Like in our area here in South Carolina would be Spalkerberry. I'm assuming the same thing that goes for the Billup Slough, Jacks Creek area, staying away from the 500 people that you could pour a cup of coffee, hand it over, and it'll just go all the way around the slough
That's
by the
right.
time it gets back to you, you haven't spilled a drop because
That's right.
yeah. So, have you had any crazy experiences at the at the boat ramps or anything like that? Anything that just went, I can't believe these guys are doing this kind of thing.
I have not personally had any bad experiences at the boat ramp, but I can give you a lighthearted good experience at a boat ramp.
Okay.
It was one of those experiences where we all get in the truck afterwards and we're like, did that really just happen? We were in Louisiana and we were on Lake Catahoula or Catahoula Lake, however you want to say it.
Right.
And we're down there and our blind gets back and it's me, my father-in-law, and our best man's dad. So I'm with the old man. We're minding our business. And we're sitting there looking at our birds and we're just standing there talking, waiting on the other blind to come back. And the boat and truck next to us, they come up and they see me looking at the birds and we're just sitting there starting talking. And we were talking about how Jimmy, which is one of the guys that was with us, he was on the hunt for a canvasback because they wanted to mount one for competition. So the guy was like, oh, well, we have 3 of them right here. Do you want them? And we were like, what do you mean? And they're like, do you want them? Like, we live here. We kill these birds all the time. Do you want to take them with you so you can mount them, this and that? And they literally just gave us the birds and gave us some like recommendations on spots to go hunt the next day if we had a boat to go out ourselves and this and that. And I was like, that is what this community is about. Like, you have a bird that you don't really care what you do with it and you're going to pass it along to somebody else so that they can make something out of it. That's what the community's here for, is educating and helping each other out. And I just thought that was one of those moments at the boat ramp that you don't hear about because all you hear about is the drama at a boat ramp or people doing booty holes. That's the 1% making a bad name for everybody else when you have this 99% of people willing to help each other. So that's what I like about it.
Cool. I probably already know the answer to this question because I watch a lot of your Facebook when I'm supposed to be working. But what's your biggest pet peeve in the blind?
My biggest... I have a couple. I mean, it really just depends on who I'm with because each one of my hunting buddies has their own pet peeve of mine that they do. And the first one has to be when we mistakenly let one person call or control the shot timing of the group, and he's always the first one to pull the trigger when he says 2. And so doesn't give anybody else a chance, just shoot. Don't expect me to shoot on go when you're shooting on 2.
Right.
That annoys me. What's another one? I don't really have many. It's hard to get on my nerves out there. If you knock over my coffee, that is a huge pet peeve. And we have 2 people that love to do it. And it's just because they don't pay attention. They're everywhere. They're always moving. And if my coffee is the one to go, then you are going to hear about it.
I'll make sure to bring an extra thermos.
Oh, you will hear about it because that's
Now getting into more of the female perspective, because we know when a lot of people think duck hunting, they think it's an all male sport, and it hasn't been for a very long time.
Right.
And when women get into duck hunting, it's kind of like, ooh. You know, even today, even though I know and I can't remember her name to save my life right now, but it was back in the 30s, and she won the Arkansas World Championship in duck calling and whatnot. But do you think more women are getting into the sport for the sport, or are they getting into it for the clicks? Is that?
Yes, that.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
I think this is going to sound really awful.
That's okay.
I think when you have a trend like this, like duck hunting is becoming a trend right now. I hate the fact that I have to say that, but it is a trend at the moment. Being outdoorsy is becoming a trend, which I love that. Love people getting outside. But now, because of social media, a lot more people are starting to jump into it because they see it and they're learning about it. And so you have the girls that are definitely getting into it because they want to get into it. And you have the girls that are trying to get into it because they either want the attention that they're seeing the girls getting from it that are currently in it, or they're seeing the type of guys that they could get out of it, if that makes sense.
Right.
So we will see how many stick around in the next year to 3 years. See when the trend kind of slows down a little bit, hopefully makes things a little bit cheaper for the rest of us again.
Oh, really?
But we will see what happens. But I do think it's both. And I hate to say that because I hate the everybody starts to bundle everybody together. Once you have the 1% of girls that are doing it for the clicks, people start realizing they're doing it for the clicks, and then they're just going to automatically assume that the rest of us are doing it because of the clicks.
Right.
And, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I am out there for clicks, but I'm also out there for the shot. Like, I'm out there for the whole experience. The clicks are just part of it. And it's hard to knock a girl either way, because we should be supporting the fact that they're going out there in general, instead of just saying, oh my God, she's just going out there for pictures. So are photographers. So, I mean, you got to kind of, there's a gray area there too. And I don't know how to explain it, because I don't really have a solid opinion on either side.
Right.
Because I support it either way. I support people getting out there and trying it at least once.
Yeah. Charles is saying he's been waiting for the trend to slow down for 10 or 15 years now. And I think that's just the trend in general of duck hunting. I think it is I can tell you, when I started YouTube, which was this is my 7th season. I started it because I actually had a 17-year-old kid came up on me while I was scouting for teal, and he started asking me questions, and I started showing him some stuff, and I actually took him to some places that this is more likely this is what you're looking for.
Right.
And he just looked at me and said, man, you ought to start a YouTube channel. And I just went, a what? I didn't even have Facebook. Okay. I'm Johnny come lately when it comes to all of this.
Right.
And so it became more of a teaching thing. And, you don't kill that many ducks in South Carolina to begin with. So it's more of a, trying to help future generations. But now you said earlier, which I knew, and I don't know if anybody else actually heard it, but you're a shotgun instructor.
Yes, sir.
And you teach shotgun safety, you teach firearm safety, all this other stuff. So when you're out there and nobody knows you from Adam's House Cat, do you think they underestimate you when you're out there and you start shooting?
Absolutely. And I mean, I've seen that personally in every aspect of shooting, whether that's me coming out there to coach, whether that's me on the Sporting Clays course, whether that's me in the duck blind. When I meet a guy for the first time and they're shooting with me for the first time, I know what they're thinking, and that's okay, because I am a 115 pound soaking wet girl with a 12 gauge shotgun. They're probably looking at me like, oh, this is just some girl borrowing her husband's gun for the day, this first time doing this, or she might have done this a couple times. When I get it. I'm new to this. I'm fresh to this still. It is what it is, but it's just kind of part of the territory when I take on something like this, and being a girl in a man's field, basically.
Right.
So I like it. I love it when people do that, because then I like being underestimated more than overestimated, because if it's a bad day on the range, it's a bad day on the range, and I was underestimated instead of overestimated. So it works out better for me math-wise.
Well, and speaking of which, with your shotgun skills, I personally have not seen them yet, but I'm quite sure I'm going to be humbled big time if we ever decide to run up to the DNR range one day and decide to shoot skeet. And I'm just going to be like, I'm putting my stuff up. I'm done. But and I don't know if you've done this before, and you may have, but have you ever been around a group of other women who were thinking about getting into the sport, and what would be some of your best advice you could give them who are looking to get into the duck hunting world?
the first and foremost thing, especially with my background in gun safety and shooting safety, is the biggest thing, no matter what type of hunting you're doing, but specifically duck hunting. Learn the gun that you're going to be carrying, get comfortable with it. Do not shoot it for the first time out in that duck blind. Learn every piece and part of it, because the last thing you need is to be out there in the dark in the swamp and not know where your trigger is, not know where your safety is, not know how to load the thing. Learn about your weapon. Everything else can just be tweaked towards the end. But once you know that weapon and you know what you're identifying out there, those are the two biggest things. Is learn how to identify birds, and that easy. YouTube. Get on social media, scroll around. There's enough bird watchers out there. They upload pictures, videos, sound clips, all this, but learning the firearm is what's going to keep you and everybody else out there safe, and it's going to have the biggest impact on your time, your quality of time, because if you're out there being unsafe and you don't know what you're doing with it, then you're not going to have fun. And that's the biggest thing. And making sure it fits. If you don't know that your shotgun doesn't fit and you get out there and you break your collarbone because the gun's too big, you're going to have a crappy time.
Right.
And they got to have a good time the first time to want to come back. And that's the biggest thing that a lot of my guy friends, when they start dating a new girl or they marry somebody and they want to get her involved, they're not taking into accountability of it's a little bit of work to make somebody enjoy it the first time. And that's why it's hard to take people on their first duck hunt, because you're worried about making sure they're having a good time while also making sure it's successful, also making sure they're safe, this and that. It's a lot of work. And a lot of people aren't prepared to do that the first time without knowing that ahead of time.
Gotcha.
That's why a lot of girls don't like it.
Cody from After 5 has a question for you. A place you always wanted to hunt ducks.
Ooh. I want to go to Alaska just to do it. I know I don't like the cold, but they have species over there, obviously, that we don't have. And my goal in life is to hunt all 50 states, hopefully. I know that's a reach, but it's a goal.
All right, so you have frozen up. I hope you're still here, but your video is frozen, so we'll just keep going. Can you hear me okay? Or
yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up, but I can still hear a little bit.
Hold on, let me back up. Is that better?
It's getting there. You're still kind of jumpy. I don't know if it's there. You go. I think
I had to get closer to the Wi-Fi. Did that work?
Yeah. Well, it flips over, then freezes up. Everybody's saying it looks fine on their end. It just may be my end. So we'll just keep going.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just there you go. There you go. Now you're moving. Let me ask you this again, lighthearted. I personally am a camo snob. Okay. I mean, my garanimals have to match. It's just, I have always been that way. So what is your favorite camo pattern?
I'm a bottomland girl, but I'm not a camo snob. I think I have maybe one matching set of camouflage.
Mm-hmm.
And that is it. I'm not picky. I'm looking at my shirts right here, and not a one of them are the same print. Not a one, but I'm a bottomland fiend. I have at least a bottomland in everything, at least one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know if that's basic of me or joining the trend or bandwagon or whatever you want to say, but that's just my favorite. What is your favorite?
I'm a natural gear. I know I'm not wearing a natural gear hat today, but natural gear is it's my camo of choice. It was bottomland, the old bottomland,
right?
And then when they switched, it was kind of like and then I found natural gear, and it just seemed, for me, it blends in everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, doesn't matter. It could be timber, it could be swamp, it could be even in a marsh or a rice field. It doesn't matter. It just blends. To me, it just blends in a whole lot better. I know that there's a few people in here that Sitka all the way. I will say I don't have a problem with Sitka other than their camo pattern. If they would just, their clothing and their stuff is outstanding.
Right.
It's just, I don't like that digital. I just can't stand digital.
See, that's where see. Okay, I like Sitka camo better than I like Cryptek camo.
Right.
Which I get it. I can see. I'm looking at one of my Sitka pieces right now. I can see where the dislike stems from. I like the coloring. I don't know.
All right. I have another question here. Now, Anti, who says this is a serious question for you, you have to worry about Anti sometimes because he lives, we don't know where he lives. We have no clue. Personally, I think he lives in the middle of the desert and he has built a underground bunker under a white van by a creek. But anyway, it is, if you could go to another planet and take her family with you and hunt ducks, where would you go?
All right. Do I have to pay for it? If I have to pay for it, no. If it's free, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All
because
right.
why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Exactly. Why not? Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, Jeff. Jeff, what's going on, man? I'm sorry I didn't see you when you came in, buddy. I see Carla. I see Carlie online often. Yes, I probably get about 40 notifications in a day on her Facebook shorts.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's like, oh, she's doing something. What is she talking about today? And I'm like, man, that she don't stop.
I just get in there and talk. I got a lot of things to say. I got an hour ride to work in the morning just to think of video ideas.
Do you have a preference for decoys?
I don't. I got a bag from a coworker a couple years ago, and he was just cleaning out his parents' storage and gave us a bag of 50 of them for $50. So cheap, free. That's what I prefer. Whatever floats, we kill ducks regardless. So, right. I mean, I don't think paying more money or any specific brand of decoy is going to do us any favors here in the swamp of South Carolina, where all we get are a couple crumbs of wood ducks every once in a while. Now, I could be totally wrong. And I mean, there could be a science saying that certain decoys kill more ducks, yada, yada, yada. But I like free of anything. Free and cheap are my middle names.
Right. I'm a heyday freak. I love heyday decoys. As a matter of fact, you can see me scrolling down. They're now sponsoring me now, and which whoop whoop. And I'll be honest, they do cost a little bit, but they're some of the most. I mean, the only thing I know that can tear one up is a 6-month-old lab puppy, and I mean that's just that simple. I've shot them. They don't sink. They're made out of the same material Crocs are made out of. And you were lucky the first time we met that I was doing a lot of walking around, because normally I'm a Crocs and socks guy. So I do. I wear them everywhere. I wear them duck hunting until I get in my waders. I mean, yeah. There you go. Innovate.
Wait, speaking of lab puppies. Oh, you can't see it.
There you go. Yep. And that was my next question. Y'all have I've never asked this to you, but do y'all have a retriever?
We do. We have 2 of them. Our first one was so good and so golden of a boy, we decided to get another one. And oh, you know what happens when you follow up the first.
And what do you have?
I have a chocolate lab and a black lab.
Okay. And do you do your own training, or?
The chocolate lab I did. The black lab, he needs some more training. We're working on it. He's my problem child. He's just got too much energy for his own good. But we're working on it. The first one I actually trained the summer that I worked at summer camp. So he was gun broken from day one. It was fantastic. So easy.
Okay. And And that's going to lead me into another question a little bit later on. And I might as well just go ahead and we'll just go ahead and go into it. I don't know if it was your Facebook post when you were posting this to be here tonight, or if it was one of mine, but there was a viewer. His name is John Stack. I don't know if you know him or not. But are you familiar with the proposed Farm Bill Amendment, HR 7567, affecting retriever training and hunt test? Are you now? I don't know if these questions were meant for me and you, or just you. I don't know. So
Right.
we're both going to answer them. Are you familiar with this Farm Bill?
Actually, maybe an hour ago when I was just scrolling, I saw something about it. I just saw the headline of that, and I didn't get a chance to read it, so I haven't learned about it yet.
Okay.
But I don't really know why they would, or what the benefit or proposed benefit of that would be.
Right. Now this is it'll be Amendment 25.
Mm-hmm.
And I have posted it on my Facebook. I actually got a pretty good post, and I did a live stream with a guy the other day, Todd Edwards, about this. But I'm making this very short and sweet. They, in this Farm Bill, there's an Amendment 25 that wants to outlaw the use of live birds or live animals for dog training. It originally started for greyhound races, but the wording of this amendment could affect bird dogs, retrievers, beagles, deer dogs, hog dogs, bear dogs, not being able to use live animals in the training process.
Right.
Also, there's a little piece in there is about yay big in there that if your dog actually gets out and does what they call a cursory, which is your dog gets out and starts chasing rabbits in an open field, that would be all of this would be a felony. Yeah. So my thing, and I'm just saying it straight up, I've sent my U.S. representative, which is Ralph Norman. I sent him an email. I actually called his office and I told him, I disagree with this. I don't even want the wording changed. I want it completely stricken from a farm bill. So, do you have, what's your immediate thoughts on this one?
That is one of those things where if you give an inch, they're going to take a mile. And what's to stop them from banning using dogs for actual hunting altogether? And then what's to stop them from banning hunting altogether?
Exactly.
What is the basis to? What would they prefer, that we go out and kill animals to use for practice instead of just letting the dogs train on the live? Who wrote this, and what type of sense are they making?
It's a Democrat out of California, but it's a bipartisan bill. They have a Democrat in California, a Democrat in North Carolina, a Republican in, I believe it's Iowa, and a Republican in Florida. So it's a bipartisan bill. But here's another thing that when I was talking to the guy the other day about this, I said, well, wait a minute. This is all dogs, can't use live animals to train. He goes, yeah. I said, well, what about police dogs? Granted, you went to Clemson. I will forgive you. Gotcha. I didn't go to any of them, so it doesn't really matter. The thing is, a human being is an animal, and
right.
We use people to train bloodhounds for scent. We use people for patrol dogs. There you go. You're not just talking about even just hunting. You're talking about a whole
right
having your dogs and taking your. I don't know if they'll take your dogs away, but they could if this gets passed, it would
I
be
mean,
a felony. It would be
what
a
about
felony.
what about the girls who just literally have their dogs and train them for self-defense using people? So you're going to take away all the giant pit bulls that protect these women?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're crazy.
Yeah, I think they are. So, John, if you're watching tonight, or you're going to watch this later, there you go on that one. He sent quite a few questions. One we've already discussed is, do you train your own retriever? And but how important to you and the guys that you hunt with, the people that you hunt with, having a well trained retriever is in the success of your hunting?
The two most important things about a dog in the blind to myself and our hunting group: retrieve the birds / bring them back. That's one part. 2, don't eat our snacks. If that dog goes into that snack bag, they're no longer riding home in the truck. At least not in my truck. That is now my sworn enemy until the end of the season. If that dog doesn't take my snacks and brings all the birds back and behaves, we're friends. We're great. But if you can't control your dog, then you don't need to be taking your dog out with a bunch of other people. Unless it's just you and your buddy going for the first time and your buddy is under the impression that this dog is still learning or doesn't behave very well. But don't take a group of people out there, especially if you're a guide and your dog doesn't behave. Your dog should be fully trained before you have people paying to go sit out there with a dog that's going to shake water all over them, that's going to eat their snacks, that's going to drop the bird 50 yards away. If you're labeling your dog as a full trained retrieving dog, it should be a full trained retrieving dog.
Now, do you prefer on your dogs when you're training your dogs? Do you want? I call it a robot dog. Dog sits there, doesn't move till you send them. The dog retrieves, comes back, jumps back on their stand, looks all nice and pretty. Or do you want a buddy? Does that make sense?
I want a buddy. I want a dog that's got some personality out there that you
Right.
can watch that dog get excited, not one that has been just, and I don't even want to say brutally trained, but just drilled into its head that you have to sit there so still. The dog should be having a good time too. The dog should hear that if it makes a misstep, that it's going to either get in trouble or not going to get its cheeseburger afterwards or whatnot, what have you. But there should be a little personality in there. I should see some tail wagging. We should all be having a good time.
Okay. Again, I'm reading this off of what John Stack wrote. Make sure. Oh, wait a minute. Kingdom Wildlife Pursuit. What's going on, buddy? Glad you could make it. Cryptic Mac. We'll get to your question in a little bit, which is, why does discussion around flooded corn never include the discussion about warmer winters up north? We will get to that in a little bit. In your opinion, because we all have them, what are the best practices for preserving the future of waterfowl hunting? Well, we kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, but I just want to make sure I get all his questions, because he was the only one that sent questions off of Facebook. So I want to make sure we get them.
Well, we appreciate that. I think the biggest thing is educating the next and the current generation, because we can't just continue to only focus on the people that we want to start bringing up. We need to focus on also continuing to educate the level that's already here. We need to make sure that we're all on the same page, we're all being safe, we're all up to date on things. Because if the generation that's hunting right now keeps doing questionable things, then there's not going to be hunting left for the next generation that we're trying to focus on. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
And I mean, safety, education, and just making sure that we're drilling respect into this next generation. Not with the intention of only coming out here and killing, but preserving. I mean, that's just the only thing we can do, is continue to educate. And I think that's to be said to keep a lot of aspects of life healthy right now.
I got you. I'm pretty much in this, and again, I don't know if these were sent for me or you or whoever. I'm pretty much in the same boat with you on this. Education, education, education. How to do it, what to do, how to actually scout without ripping the world apart. With
Right.
I run a mud motor. I love my mud motor. I know they're loud, but there's a way to do it. Um, you'll never see a turtle box in my boat. Number one, I can't afford it, and number two, I just don't like to listen to music that much. So
Fair enough.
that's one of the things that I can't stand, is to be sitting in a quiet swamp and hearing a turtle box going off. A country, whatever the current country song is, which
Right.
they haven't made a country song in 20 years. I mean, to be honest, when Merle Haggard and Tammy Wynette and George Jones went away, I mean, they just haven't done anything. And with that said, because I put my age in there, this question here, with hunters aging out, how do we keep the next generation involved? And if you don't mind, I'm gonna put this out first. I don't think that duck hunters necessarily are aging out. What I think is happening is the lack of ducks right now. And when I was growing up, I mean, it wasn't nothing. I'm not saying we shot mallards every day. I'm not saying we limited out on mallards every day, but we had the opportunity for it. And in today, especially local here, and I'm being very specific to South Carolina and local, I think that with the duck populations going down on the Atlantic Flyway, the guys are just going, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm not aging out. I'm 61. I think about duck hunting every day. There's not a day goes by that I'm not thinking about it. So I don't think I'm aging out. I'm thinking that I'm going, why is it worth it to hunt my particular state when I can go somewhere else, spend pretty much the exact same amount of money, get a week, maybe if I'm lucky, get 2 weeks in through the season, and then call it.
Right.
And not waste my time and money on something that I may or may not see. That's just my opinion on that. I'd like to hear from you.
I think
You're
you're
being
exactly
very
right.
younger than I am, so
I think you're exactly right. And I think even though we are a generation apart, we're still seeing the same exact amount of birds right now. And we're having the same exact thoughts. Why are we spending all of our money at home on 3 wood ducks maybe a week, when we could spend our money, save our vacation days, and drive out to another state and actually kill limits and kill different species, kill a variety. And I think a lot of this is stemming from the earlier topics of all of the changes that's going on with people putting their hands in the pot with the corn ponds, or the adjusting the flyway patterns with this and that, the warmer ponds, and everything is pulling together and just changing duck hunting altogether, whether that's just our state, our country, continent, have you not. Everything is changing, and it's basically, I'm picturing it in my mind as Pangea, but of the duck species and the flyways. Everything is evolving and changing, and we weren't prepared for that. And it's changed right in front of our eyes. It's not something that, a couple of birds are disappearing this year and that year. I feel like even just what I saw during the summer times, and not during hunting itself, but just in our backyard, is drastic over the last 4 or 5 years. So I don't know exactly how drastic it's been for, you the last 30 years, but I can tell a difference even just riding the boat up and down the lake. Is there's less ducks regardless what time of year it is.
My next question, and I believe it's going to be the last question from John, is how far north have you hunted, and what was your best hunt harvest experience there?
So the furthest north that I've hunted personally was the Outer Banks this past year, because we've usually gone out west, so now we're going north. What was the best part of that one? I mean, that was just the fellowship in that blind was probably some of the best fellowship that I've had on a duck hunt in a very long time. So I think that was my favorite part about the trip. We didn't really kill anything brand new. We just it was just an average bag. But the fellowship itself, we sat out there for almost 12 hours both days. It was a grand old time. So that was my best experience up there.
Now, when you say out west, so you pretty much hunted if you take South Carolina and draw a straight line straight out, you haven't hunted anything other than the Outer Banks north. So you haven't
Correct.
hunted, if you hunted in Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, anywhere up in that area on the
Nope.
central Mississippi.
Louisiana. My out of states are North Carolina, Louisiana, Texas, and I think that's it. Yeah, those are my only out of state hunts.
Now, mine, as farthest north I've hunted is Alberta. I was there for 3 days. Every day I limited out on. They have an 8 duck limit, and it does not matter if they're drakes or hens. When I was there, it was just 8 ducks, and it was mallard, predominantly mallards, but mallards, pintails, widgeon. Did shoot some Canada geese while I was there on a couple of days. I guess the biggest, I was by myself with a guide.
Right.
I didn't go with a group. It was our 25th wedding anniversary that my wife sent me on this trip. And and that was actually with Ramsey Russell's outfitter thing that you go through. And of course the guide wasn't happy because he normally got to, he'd get 8 to 10 hunters, and on this trip it was just me. So he wasn't really happy about it. But he understood once he found out that I'd been over in the Middle East for 8 years, and this was going to be a duck hunt of a lifetime. So that kind of changed his note, and I was able to, we ended up having a good time and a great time. I think the scariest of that trip is we got back from a hunt, and he just said, listen, I'm going to go take a nap. I said, fine. We had already had our lunch, and I was walking around. He's got a big house with a wraparound porch, and I'm walking around looking at this beautiful, beautiful river that runs right by the lodge. And I stepped down off the porch just to go walk out there. And then you ever have that feeling something's watching you?
Yeah.
And I turned, and there was a grizzly bear probably about 80, 90 yards away. And I immediately turned around and went back into the house. But that was, but the trip itself, it was a great trip. Charles, can you still hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I don't know why I'm frozen again, but
yeah. Charles saying you got to try a curtain blind on OBX and a layout for sea ducks. Very, very different experience. And he is correct. Let me go up here. There was 2 questions up here, and I really want to get back to, not necessarily for you, but it came into the main chat. Cryptomac, I guess that's how you pronounce that. Why does the discussion around flooded corn never include the discussion about warmer winters up north? If you've watched my videos, I have mentioned about warmer a little bit, warmer winters. This is something that we go through continuously on Earth. We have cold winters, we have warm winters. I mean, a foot of snow fell on, there she is. A foot of snow fell in Minnesota, up in northwestern Minnesota, just a few days ago. Oh no! I hope she comes.
I'm working on it. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, here's my thing about corn ponds is that you're planting a food source that is only good for, honestly, is good for carbohydrates. And to me, it keeps the birds in a location a lot longer, except when they don't continue their migration further south. It is this. Here's a fact on this. Around December 21st is your winter solstice. Sometimes it's 22nd, sometimes it's the 23rd, but it's around the 21st of December. That's the shortest day of the year. And it's a known fact that wherever a duck ends up on that day, on that shortest day, wherever he's at, generally he's going to stay there for the rest of the winter, unless a couple of things happen. Number one, they have a tremendous amount of cold weather, which freezes everything up. They get shot out, or they cannot find open water. And yes, there are warmer winters up north, but I have to remind people that in the late 70s and early 80s, that is right there, the mid 1900s, guys, just in case you really need a timeline. I can't tell you the amount of mallards that I have shot locally in South Carolina on 75-degree days. I've been to Texas and hunted in Texas in short sleeves in January and shot when pintails were 10 points a piece, and you could shoot 100 points. That means 10 pintails per person, pintail drakes, 75 degrees, short sleeves, shorts under my. Only reason I wore waders was to keep mosquitoes off my legs. So does weather play a part? Yes, but I really, and I don't have anything scientific to back this up as of yet, but I don't think it really plays the part that a lot of people believe it plays the part. I think food sources, rest, and open water plays a much bigger part. And that's what corn ponds do. It gives them lots of food, it gives them lots of rest, and it gives them a lot of open water. And, you know, we've all seen ducks slide on ice, and we've all seen, we've seen videos of ducks coming down and sliding on across the ice. What is it for a duck to travel 50 miles or 100 miles, get up, get on the jet stream, and either head north, south, east, or west to get open water so they can get a drink? That's nothing for them. So I do understand what you're saying. There have been some warmer winters, but I personally, in my opinion only, opinions are like elbows. Everybody's got a pair of them. It's not that big of a factor as the food, water, and rest. Anyway, there was that. That's my opinion. If you want to jump in and say something, you most certainly can, while I find this other question.
I think you covered it there. I mean, it's basically like I've been saying the whole time. Everything is affecting everything, and it sounds so kindergarten to say, but it all leads back to the same spider web of factors that everybody's playing with. And when you mess with every single ingredient in the recipe, you're not making the same recipe anymore. So that's how I feel about it, and I think people just need to get their hands out the pots and let the birds do their thing.
Smokey R2J, what's up? Why are you not live in a duck blind? Just saying. I'm not live in a duck blind because the duck season's closed. Anyway, I'll answer that one real quick. And Carlie's hiding from some toddlers, if I'm not mistaken. So I know of one. I don't know if there's any others, but I know of one.
Yeah, we got the toddler and the baby.
And she loves ice cream. So let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, nothing. I mean, there's some statements in here, but we'll let them roll. All right, so we have finished all the questions from John Stack, thankfully. John, again, I hope you're watching or watch this later or watching now. I hope we answered your questions to your satisfaction. Let me know, and maybe I can go into more detail at a later date. Um, Now, my love,
All right.
and you can ask. I think you can ask Randy in here. I believe you can ask Cody in here. And I've sent you a few pictures of teasing pictures of food. But I love to cook, and I actually make sausage biscuits in the blind. So when I'm hunting, I'll actually, I mean, they're canned, they're pop and wop biscuits, okay,
Right.
but uh-oh. I didn't have all my props laid out. This is my biscuit maker,
Huh.
and I can tell you a story about this one, but this is the biscuit maker, and this will hold 8 Pillsbury Grand Buttermilk biscuits in there, and you close it up. You just keep flipping it over till you get brown. Um, there's another company. Now this is an antique. This is a vintage one. Um, uh, let's see here. What's the name of it? Duck Blind Bistro. Duck Blind Bistro. They make one. It's a square one. I actually have theirs. One of theirs down in here in my cabinet. They actually sent me when they saw me using this, and it does the same thing. But
Oh my God. Oh yeah. You just influenced me. I'm buying something now.
I hear you. But
Buying
I
them.
actually I love to cook biscuits and sausage. I'll with the Duck Blind Bistro. It actually comes. It's a clamshell, but it comes apart, so you now have 2 frying pans. Um, and you can actually fry your sausage in there, or your bacon, or scramble eggs, or whatever it is you want to do in there. And then once all that's done, put your biscuit or cook your biscuits first, and then do everything else. So I love to eat while I'm out there. So I'm asking you, do y'all cook? Do y'all cook out there, or are y'all a potato chip and um, beef jerky kind of crowd?
We are snackers. Little Debbie cakes. I got beef jerky, Slim Jims, Twizzlers, Little Debbie cakes. Depends on the week on what I'm feeling. Coffee, Red Bull. I have my entire blind bag is full of snacks. Basically, my husband carries my ammo. I carry the snacks. That's how it works out. It's how it's a happy marriage. It just works for us.
I hear you.
So it happens. But snacks all the way. If we had a blind that was like our blind, then I probably would have a setup to cook. But like I said earlier, a lot of the times when we're hunting at home, we're standing in the water, and we don't really just have a good setup on any private land to just get familiar with a place long enough to get used to cooking in it. And usually when we're hunting these ponds around by us, I mean, the last time we hunted it, we had a 3-man in 7 minutes. So we didn't even have time to open a can of biscuits.
Right. So are y'all walk-in hunters or boat? Do y'all get in the boats or?
We've taken our boat on Lake Marion a couple times.
You and your husband and your close friends and you're hunting local. Do y'all boat in, or you just walk in?
The way where we live on the lake is very tricky with spots to go in terms of the laws and distances away from certain landmarks. Yep. So a lot of our hunting is done walking, just to make sure that we're following all the rules. We have gone out in the boat a couple times, but the spots that we try to go to are very pushing the limit on these types of things. So if it's a really rough morning, we just have to wash the whole day because our luck will get pushed right over that line, and that'll be the 1 minute the DNR decides to come around the corner, and we don't mess with it. So we tried both. When we get a bigger boat, hopefully in the future, we might try to go to one of the more populated areas from where we are, but that's opposite side of the lake.
Right.
So
now we know your love for coffee. So how do you take your coffee?
hot always, a little bit of cream, preferably vanilla, and lots of sugar. That's it. Nothing fancy.
How about energy drinks?
Red Bull all day long. I prefer the watermelon one. I'll drink the original. And if you have to give me something else, I'll drink it happily.
Okay, I gotcha. But your blind bag is going to have your thermos and your Red Bulls and your snacks.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
What's your favorite duck species?
My favorite. Now, one that I've killed or haven't killed yet?
Nope, just your 100% favorite. Your favorite.
My favorite is a redhead. I have not gotten one yet, and I think the only reason I haven't killed one is because that has been my goal for every single hunt I've gone on, is for a freaking redhead. And every other blind, but the one that I'm in, gets to bring in a redhead on every hunt except for me. And it's the same thing with a guy in our blind and pintails. He cannot get one to save his life, but every time we go somewhere, the other blind gets pintails. So I mean, it evens out.
My favorite duck of all time is the American black duck. It is absolutely my favorite duck. I've shot quite a few of them in my life, and they will continue to always be my number one duck. But the next question is, what's your favorite duck to eat?
A dead one. No, I'm really not picky, and I this is gonna sound awful. I've never noticed a difference in the taste between ducks.
Really?
So I'm the one who cleans them, so I don't know exactly what's getting thrown in the bag. I shoot them, I admire them, I take pictures of them. They get passed off to the boys. They clean them, and they hand them to me to cook them. I don't know what's in the bag. I know what species we killed. I couldn't tell you the difference. I probably could.
What's your favorite way to cook them then?
That's tricky. It depends on the day. I love just fried little nuggets. Really, my favorite recipe to make for any wild game bird is flatten out the breast a little bit and make it into like a spicy, tender, whatever you want to call it. I do that with my pheasants and my ducks, and I really enjoy that. But I'm not picky. I don't really have a favorite. It's whatever you cook and hand it to me. I'm going to eat it and I'm going to enjoy it.
My favorite duck to eat, and I can tell the difference, is a wood duck. That is my all-time favorite duck to eat. But I'm going to give you a recipe. I'm going to give you some homework.
Okay.
And I want you to go to the channel, and I want you to look up go to my channel and go into where it says Daddy Duck's Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And look up wood duck shotgun shells.
Okay.
And what I do is I breast the meat out, and I cut off every tidbit that I can off that duck. Not just the breast, but I fillet the legs, the thigh portions, the back, whatever I can get meat off of. And then I do an 80-20 blend, usually with a ground pork.
Okay.
So it's going to be an 80-20 blend of ground pork. Now I'm going to season it, and I season food until my ancestors tell me to stop. Okay. I cannot stand bland food. I don't need it spicy. I don't need it hot. I just need it seasoned.
That's right.
And then I season it, and then I grind all of that up together. And I may, at the time, add some cream cheese to it. I'll cut off some cream cheese and mix all of that together. And once that's done, I pipe it into manicotti shells. Ooh. Now you can do this one or two ways. You can al dente the manicotti if you want. I don't. I leave it hard. It's easier for my fat fingers to work. I pipe it in there. I then wrap it in bacon all the way around, and there's no shell uncovered.
Okay.
I go back and season that. And then I put it in my smoker, and I smoke at 225 to 165 internal. And I don't know what kind of smoke, if you have a smoker or what kind of smoker you got. I have a Pit Boss. And one of the things I've noticed on my Pit Boss is when I'm finished, when it gets to that 165 mark, I cut it off, and it takes about 5 minutes for it to cool down before you can actually turn it off.
Okay.
It's a pellet smoker. That is when I put on my barbecue sauce.
Okay.
Now, there's only one barbecue sauce that I use for this, and you may be able to find it down there if you find a Piggly Wiggly. And it's called Jim Lee barbecue sauce. And he is actually from Sumter, South Carolina. Okay. And I only use his. It has a good flavor to it and a little kick at the end. So I slather that barbecue sauce on it, and I shut it back down, and I let the smoker cool down. And when it cools down and turns off, where you can mash the button and turn everything off, that's when it's ready. And oh my gosh, yeah.
You're making me hungry.
You can, I guarantee you cook that for the boys, and you ain't got to buy shotgun shells the rest of your life.
I'll take that.
I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite ways to cook them. The only other way I do it is I'll breast out the ducks. Butterfly them open, so it gives it a thinner, but it's just butterflied open. I use a salt, pepper, garlic seasoning, McCormick's, steak seasoning, or even Meat Church Blanco, which is all nothing but salt, pepper, garlic. It's all purpose, and I'll season that, and I'll cook them in butter or bacon fat or whatever, on a griddle or in a cast iron. A pan fry is, there's no flour, no country style, and it's just a pan fry. 3 to 4 minutes on each side, and you're done. You're eating.
Yeah, now I'm really hungry.
So that's how I cook mine. But oh yeah, I could go on forever about cooking stuff.
Me too. I could go on forever about eating stuff.
I hear you. Let's see here. We talked about your dream hunt. You said you wanted to go to Alaska.
Yes.
What would be the species that you went for? I mean, what would be the?
See, now you got me thinking about redheads again, and now I want to change my trip to anywhere in the country that I'm just going to kill a daggum redhead. That is all I want. I will set aside the gun for the rest of the hunt. Maybe, if I get my redhead. That is my dream hunt. Wherever I have to be. And this is going to sound a little cliche, but I mean, now I'm at the phase of parenthood where my next dream hunts are going to be the ones where we can take the kids. And watching them start killing species. And I think that's going to be exciting. So I'm excited for that. We are going back to Africa. So I'm looking to hunt some birds over in Africa at some point as well. So we'll see. Redheads are not easy. I have personal vendetta. Yeah. Every single guide we've gone with has known a place. They've known multiple places on the lake, and the other blind gets put in the places, apparently. And then I get put in those places, and the redheads, they don't show up. They go to the other blind.
I actually know the place he's talking about. I've been there. So, and no, I didn't kill a redhead that trip either. So
he's lying.
So no, I saw them. We just didn't do it. I've shot redheads before. The only species I haven't that are on my bucket list is a cinnamon teal. And I'm talking ducks. I'm talking strictly the 42 species. Cinnamon teal, believe it or not, a furvolous tree duck, and a black belly tree duck. Those are the three right there that I have that elude me. I mean, I drove all the way down to Florida on a veterans hunt for 3 days, and I saw all the tree ducks I wanted to see. We just couldn't get them in range. I mean, it was just
right. And that's the worst part, is seeing them just about way too far. That's the worst part.
So Well, I've pretty much gone through every question I've had for you. Because I didn't want to keep you too long. I know you do have a family. What? Well, what keeps you coming back? I mean, what is it that drives you every year to go duck hunting?
That daggum redhead. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's the fact of my first season was without a gun. So, I mean, I got to learn the love for hunting without the killing portion of it. And I think just the chasing the birds, not even chasing them, but just watching them work, being out in nature, the quiet mornings, that is one thing that people take for granted. And I leave my house every morning at 4:30, 4:45. So I mean, I'm up at that time year round. But those are the mornings where I get to sit there and just be grateful for anything and everything around me, whether it's a successful hunt or not. I'm grateful for the time that I'm there, and I'm already thinking about the next time I get to go back. It's just the watching, the fellowship, the experiences that I get to carry on, and the life lessons that I learn in a blind that I don't get to learn sitting at my desk at work.
Right.
So that's really it. It's the fellowship. That's what keeps me coming back.
Jeff, listen, thanks for coming in, buddy. Appreciate you all the time. You take care of yourself. Scott Schultz finally decided to come in. Hey, Scott, how's it going? Yeah, redheads don't really show up on the North Carolina coast until about the last week of the season. Normally they're here around Christmas. They didn't show up this year till last week of the season, but they're normally around Christmas time. Yeah, OBX had a really weird year this year. I had several friends of mine that are from South Carolina in the Kershaw area that went up there, and they didn't even pull the trigger. I know Charles lives quite close up there. I got another friend of mine, Craig. I don't think he's come in tonight, but they go up there a lot, and they just it was just a bad year, really bad year in OBX this year. And I didn't even hunt North Carolina this year. I hit Louisiana, Minnesota, and Louisiana again.
Okay.
And then a couple of days in South Carolina, and that was it for me. But I think basically all that you've said, I've been duck hunting for over 50 years, and I absolutely 100% love it. There's not a room in this house that doesn't have some type of duck hunting memorabilia in it. I'm not joking. I mean, everything that's in this house, whether it's a mount or a print or a piece of memorabilia, and if it doesn't have, I'll take a duck call and go stick it in there. Everything. Yeah, I mean, I got duck calls everywhere. I mean, they're just like everywhere.
I'm in my closet, and I have duck calls and a bag of shotgun shells in here.
There you go. Well, okay. Well, let's talk about duck calls. What's your favorite duck call? What's your?
I'm absolutely booty at duck calling. That is I am a trigger puller. I'm not a shot call. I'm not a caller at all.
Okay.
I'm not good. I've tried. You posted CCC calls the other day
Right.
with the younger boy. I bought a call from him at the classic the other day because I'm trying to learn how. It's just I have a really small mouth, so none of the calls we buy fit properly. They're not comfortable. Fit properly. They're not comfortable. I'm just not good at it.
I understand what you're saying.
I try, but I bought a call from him, and it actually fits really well. So give me a couple months, and I'll come back.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
There's about 70 duck calls up there.
Okay.
So, number one, I collect them. That's number one. I love to collect them. I collect all kind of duck hunting memorabilia, but I love to collecting duck calls. And you really sometimes have to go through a bunch of calls to find one that fits your air,
Right.
fits the air that you blow and how you blow a call. And so when I get people who say this is the best call ever, maybe for you,
Right.
but it may not be for me or for somebody else. I was at the Classic. I don't know, I run through all the duck call guys that are there. Uh, there was one called Mud Donkey. He's out of North Carolina. And I've got one of his calls up here, but I went through a couple years ago. I went through 7 of his calls before I found one that fit my air.
Right.
And even then, I got behind the counter with him and we did a little trimming and did a little work on it to fit me, because not all duck calls fit. Not, there's no one call that fits everybody.
Right.
All right, Charles, take care of yourself, brother. Thanks for stopping in. But yeah, I run a number of calls. I don't have a favorite. I think the easiest ones to blow have always been Duck Commander for me.
Okay.
The story behind that is I've actually hunted with Phil and Jace, and Jace built me 2 calls, and we spent an hour in the old shop that was at Phil's house and tuned these calls to me. I've got a call up here, a wood duck call up here that Phil handed to me and said, blow this. And I want to hear you blow a wood duck call. And I did. And he goes, you sound pretty good. And he takes it off his lanyard and hands it to me and said, that's yours. So I've got that up there.
I love that.
So I think all the, if I was going to tell somebody to go and get a specific call, would probably be a Duck Commander. If nothing else, is to learn off of it. Because
Right.
I think they're the easiest calls to blow.
I think it's hilarious that you say that, because that is my husband's go-to duck call as well, is the Duck Commander wood duck call. That is what he swears by. He had one break, and I'm pretty sure that's the one he restocked on when we were coming back through Louisiana. We stopped there just for, just to stop there. You have to. So that's actually one of the calls that I was trying to learn with, but obviously we have 2 different size mouths. We have 2 different air powers, as you would say. Right. Even with the turkey mouth call, I have issues with it because it has to be so small. And I bought a turkey youth call, and we basically cut it in half, and it's still too big. So we're learning. It's step by step, just like fitting in waders. It is what it is.
JW Outdoors, what's going on? Glad you can make it tonight, buddy. Yeah, like I said, I've got a bunch right here. These are Jensen calls. I just did a video not too long ago on these. They're actually bringing these back.
Okay.
The Sure Shot Company. This is the 1960s model, and they were bought. I bought these originally in probably the late 70s sometime. So, yeah. And then I've got 2 more calls. I got calls. I got calls everywhere. There's, it's kind of like a pew pew. I can reach over and grab a duck call. Don't show me, but
I'm not.
But I could, I could grab whatever I need, like arm distance, what I need. But
I had to make sure I could too before I started nodding.
Listen, I want to ask the chat real quick. Does anybody have any questions for Carlie? We're going to be wrapping this up here kind of soon. So if you have any questions for her or for me, whoever, please get them in the chat kind of quick, because there is a little bit of a lag in on these things, and I want to get your questions answered if we can. But Carlie, in the meantime, listen, we've been talking about this for what, a month?
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to finally get you up here. You and of course you and your husband are more than welcome anytime I'm doing a live stream, which is on Monday nights. If I'm up here by myself, y'all want to pop in and get on, you have an open invite is what I'm getting at.
Thank you.
It's an open invite. I really do hope that this tonight and the time I met you down at the Classic and now tonight, that we can open up a friendship, maybe hunt together or have a barbecue cook-off somewhere, or
Absolutely.
do something. It's been a minute since I've been down to Utahville. It's been a minute. I always loved that place down there. It's always held a special place in my heart. I can't tell you the times and the ducks I've killed off the brickyard.
Yeah.
At the old brick mill. You know, and so it's just like I said, it's Duck Dog, what I missed? Man, you missed an hour and 30 minutes of me and Carlie talking.
Yapping.
That's what you missed. You may have to, when this goes live again in a couple of days, you're going to have to watch it all the way through. Daddy Duck, I'm in upstate South Carolina. Awesome, dude. Awesome. Well, I'm in the middle of the state in Sumter, so I ain't hard to find. Dinner ran late.
Can we start over? I can't even remember what I said 5 minutes ago.
You what?
I said I can't even remember what I said 5 minutes ago. Can we start over?
But we've had a pretty good. I know where he is. Yeah, you should know where I'm at. But I've had a really good time tonight.
Absolutely.
Basically, I wanted the people that come to me that come out here and watch me every Monday to meet you, hopefully to follow your Facebook, and you do have a YouTube channel as well. It's kind of starting. We're
working on it.
Yeah, you're working on it. So I want people, more people. Let me tell y'all something, guys. If you need a laugh, you're going to get it from her Facebook. She comes off with some off the wall stuff. I mean, it'll be dark outside. And you're like, what is she doing in her car this time? What in the world? What is she talking about? We won't get into some of the more other videos about chasing the farmer down the road in his tractor. Hey. But hey, I got you. I understand.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But I want you guys, it's somewhere in the chat, if you could repost it for some of the guys that came in late, her channel information, so they can grab it and go watch her on Facebook and all this kind of stuff. And hopefully her channel YouTube channel will kick off here soon. I'm quite sure it will. But do you have anything for me? You have any questions? Anything that you wonder about? Or
no, now I'm planning this barbecue cook-off in my head.
Yeah, so we gotta do ribs, Boston butts.
Sounds like we need to do it during duck season, because I want to try one of these shotgun shells you're talking about.
Oh, I got plenty. I still got some ducks in the freezer. So
me too. Actually, I got some pheasants and some ducks in there.
And you can actually do it with any meat whatsoever.
Okay.
These shotgun shells, they go with ground meat. I would not put turkey or chicken in it. Just not my style. But ground beef, ground ducks, ground venison. I've done it with venison. I've done it with wild hog sausage. And it's different. It's
right.
If you've ever had a traditional duck popper where you split it, fill it full of cream cheese, jalapeno peppers, onion, mushroom, fold it back over, wrap it up and bake it, season, throw it on the grill. Right. It's the same thing. It's just more sophisticated.
Right. She's got a noodle.
It's just got a noodle, and it just makes it so much better.
Yeah, we gotta try that.
We'll
meet somewhere on 95.
Just on the side of the road. Just pull over.
Just hand off Tupperware and keep going.
Just keep going. There you
go. We'll pass each other on the way back and hand each other the empty Tupperware.
We can do that too. But yeah, I'd love to. If y'all want to come up, we got the DNR range between Sumter and
Yes.
Columbia. I guess you would come through St. Matthews and 601 and
Yeah, that's how I get to Eastover.
yeah, and yep, and you go that way and meet up there one day and
Absolutely.
shoot some. And I want you to embarrass me, so that's not a problem. It won't be a problem to begin with. My skills have been waning here lately.
Hey, I'm a coach for a reason.
You're a coach for a reason. But anybody else? Anybody else got anything? If not, Miss Carlie, thank you so much for showing up. And I'll shoot you a text message once I hang up. But guys, appreciate everybody coming in tonight. Again, the In the Blind is brought to you by Salt Creek Custom Ammunition, True Lock Choke Tubes, Biscuit Built 3D, and of course, Heyday Outdoors. Y'all take care of yourselves, and we will see y'all next time on Daddy Duck 365. Good night,
Thank
everybody.
you.